This is a test of frequency instruments, bass, drums, distortion.
I've got to ask you just one question away from Damalola. You know, we found out that London is going to be in Tier 2. Lots of other places, particularly up north, thinking that we have, we're being given special treatment. Others that I've been discussing this with think, Tier 2, out of lockdown, out of Tier 2 is like another kind of punishment. I just wonder how you receive it.
Very concerned about the inadequacy of the government's financial package of support for all the schools that have got extra expenses, for the council that's got extra expenses, for the businesses that are not properly compensated, and all the people who are self-employed and freelance, of whom there are thousands in my constituency, who are not getting any support and who are having to work, even if they feel as if they have to work, even if they are taking risk because they've been in contact with somebody who's positive, because they feel they can't afford to stay home. So I'm worried about the financial support the government is not putting in that needs to be. But in terms of the level of restrictions, I'm not going to second guess the scientific advice that goes to the government. The virus is absolutely pernicious, and I'm sticking to the rules and urging everybody else to stick to the rules. But the other thing I'm thinking ahead of is this vaccine, because this is going to be our absolute get out of jail card. It's going to be so important in order to start life all over again. But people have got to take up the vaccine or it won't work, because there are some people whose health conditions mean they can't be vaccinated. So all of us who can be vaccinated, we've got to do that. So I'm thinking ahead, really, really, not just pressurising the government to do more financial support, but thinking ahead to the vaccination programme and really starting the argument. It's not just about you. It's about everybody else in the community. And unless we all do it, the vaccine won't work. And therefore, don't make an individual decision. I don't think I need the vaccine. I'm not going to have it. I'm not worried about it. We've all got to do this.
Thank you very much for your time. Harriet Harman, Labour MP for Peckham and Camberwell. Now, you have a choice of listening.
Coming up after the news on digital radio and TV. John.
Years, 55-year-old Paul Farrell pleaded guilty to 58 child sex offences carried out between 1985 and 2020, including attempted rape and sexual assault of a child under 13. The charges relate to 6 victims who can't be named for legal reasons, who are now aged between 8 and 43. 13,000 jobs are at risk at Sir Philip Green's retailer empire, which is on the brink of collapse. The Arcadia Group includes Topshop, Burton and Dorothy Perkins. The firm says it needs £30 million to survive beyond Christmas. Patrick O'Brien, a retail data specialist, says Arcadia's problems won't come as a surprise to many in the sector.
Anyone who's been watching the markets will know that Arcadia's been struggling for a number of years, and obviously COVID has really accelerated its decline. Maybe a little bit surprised that it might go into administration before Christmas, when they should be getting a bit of a cash flow boost, but really this was just a matter of time.
The government's scientific advisors estimate the UK's coronavirus reproduction number has fallen and is now between 0.9 and 1. The figure represents the average number of people each person with COVID-19 goes on to infect. Police have urged people not to attend a protest in central London this weekend during the coronavirus lockdown. The Met Police said it is aware a protest has been planned for tomorrow, and organisers have been looking to hire coaches to help people travel to it from other parts of the country. The police spokesman said officers will be monitoring coaches travelling into London. The grassroots group Save Our Rights UK, which says it's working for democracy, is planning a protest on Saturday called Unite for Freedom, Time for Action, according to its website. Speaking to BBC Radio London this evening, the Met Commissioner, Cressida Dick, explained why her officers would be acting.
Our job is to uphold the law. Other people who are complying with the law
who are the vast majority, of course, look at groups, whether they're having a big party or they want to have a protest, who are completely flouting the regulations, and say something needs to be done about that. And I have to say, I agree with them. It's not fair if some people are really, really trying their hardest to comply with regulations and other people, for whatever purpose, are flouting.
20 years ago today, a 10-year-old boy was fatally stabbed in a stairwell in Peckham, a crime that sent shockwaves through the country. Damilola Taylor's death led to tough questions about the causes of youth violence in London, many of which are still being asked today. Leroy Logan, MBE, is a former superintendent in the Met and helped on the Taylor case. He gave his perspective to BBC Radio London this evening.
I'm more energised when I hear about this senseless killing, especially young people, and these misplaced loyalties and this artificial barriers of postcodes and all that. But you're not going to just arrest you where the problem or stop and search you where the problem. You've got to know the target group. You need early intervention and prevention programs to ensure that you build those bridges.
Heathrow Airport says that the Unite trade union is to go ahead with its strike plan on December the 1st, protesting against job cuts as well as the rehiring of people on reduced pay. The strike, which was announced by Unite on November the 16th, will involve firefighters, engineers, campus security, baggage operations, operational and airside workers, and will effectively close the airport. Now, with London's weather, here's Kate Kinsella.
Overnight it stays cloudy. We've got some patchy light rain spreading in from the south. Temperatures much milder than last night, though, above zero at least, between 4 and 7 Celsius.
And the BBC Radio London travel comes from Perth.
London. For tonight's live match.
And I have to say, the current Secretary of State has talked about schools, and we're yet to see him say anything of value about early years.
What would you, as Chief Executive of the Early Years Alliance, what would you most like to see the government do to support parents bringing up very young children?
Well, I think what COVID has proven, and in fact it's quite interesting that Ofsted produced a report just a couple of weeks ago, and one of the statements they basically made was that early years environments, whether they be childminders or whether they're nurseries, were actually, they became hubs. They were centres of communities, not just for caring for children, but it provided information on health and domestic abuse, you name it. So I think
longer an excuse, and unconscious bias, from my understanding, having had the upbringing and the education that I had no idea that what it was. I had no idea it existed, and then sad as it is to say, it took me many years to realise it, especially then living a day or a week in my wife's shoes.
Yesterday I spoke to a lady called Melanie. Melanie touched me. Why? Because Melanie rang in response to a guy called Lee, and It's slightly unrelated, but you know, who feels it knows it. Melody admitted until she had experienced a particular thing, and in this instance it's a financial hardship for herself, she had no understanding or empathy indeed of how other people could possibly get into that situation.
I would have said that families need to cut their cloth according to, you know, what they've got, and if you've got kids then it's your responsibility to feed them. I would have said all of that. I've never ever thought that I might need help feeding my children or my family, but as the months go on and my husband is involved in the pub trade and I'm a fitness instructor, we're starting to worry and be concerned about our financial situation when that has never happened to us before. And I'm suddenly thinking I might be one of those people eventually who might need some support, and I could cut my allowance according to my cloth, but my cloth is getting smaller and smaller.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what this subject is about. I know it is a subject, so it could be about the fact that this prince, I don't know, that's something that somebody might say. It's kind of gentle. It's not bestowed with power, with influence, or whatever, right? But fine. But ignorance sounds like a harsh word, and I don't want to say it like that, because there are people who would argue that if you come from the Caribbean, many of us have been diluted, and therefore, so I could have that conversation with you. But actually, I'm talking about people kind of having power, and then that unconscious bias influencing the power that they have to employ, to educate, and that's the bit of it that I'm really interested in with you. Are you conscious of that? Are you conscious of that? And if you are conscious of that, are you also conscious of white privilege?
I mean, Lenny wanted to name our son Zion, and as soon as I found out I was having a boy, straight away I said, if you call him Zion, it's going to impact his life, because you know, I've read the research. I know that when job applications come through, you're more chance of getting an interview if you have an English-sounding name. That's just fact. And it's
so what does that mean?
And it shouldn't be.
I know.
Like
but
that,
what does that mean then?
But at that time, I suppose I was buying into I suppose I was trying to dance around the bias. I was trying to dance around for my own children's future. I was trying to think.
So they're mixed race, but I want to give them the best possible chance. And if I give them Motola or Mabutu or Zion, it's not going to give them the best chance.
Yeah, which, you know, looking back now, you know, that probably wasn't the right thing to do. But at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. It felt like that was securing them the best chances that they would have.
I don't think Kate, honestly, I don't think there is a wrong thing to do. I think that as a parent, you do what you think at the time is the best thing. And just like all things in our life, what I thought when I joined this radio station 18 years ago and what I think now are completely different. I respect and appreciate your honesty in regards to this subject, and I thank you very much. Please give my love to your family and time